Hello, welcome back to the real inbound hot seat. This is the place it all happens, if not here over the other side of Swansea, actually, where all the work gets done. I just sit in front of a camera and try to make sense of things. So the last couple of weeks, we've been talking a lot about marketing machines. I got so interested in marketing machines, we even renamed the company Marketing Machines, because that's what we do. We build marketing machines. Well, what is a marketing machine? I think that's kind of an important question. So I want you to think about the marketing machine as everything you do online, everything you do to attract customers, everything you do to serve your customers, basically everything you do to market your business, particularly online, but integrated together so that it is one machine, one uh, seamless, integrated, powerful machine, not lots of disparate, separate efforts, if that makes sense. So that's the whole point of the marketing machine. You don't try a bit of this here, you don't try a bit of this there, you don't try a little bit of things all over the place. You bring all of your efforts together, you coalesce around one common theme, often a CRM system, um, uh, uh, or something along those lines, but certainly around your website, which is the main place that you will engage and interact with your customers. So, what are the component parts of a marketing machine? We talked about websites last week, and we even discussed whether or not you really do need a website. And I think if you're a smaller business and in a certain vertical, if you're a trades business, for instance, social media can work brilliantly for you. But if you're a scaling business, if you're a bigger business, a mid-market business especially, if you're a business with 10 plus people and serving lots of different customers, then your website is the essential piece of the marketing machine for reasons that we're about to go into. But you do need to think of it as being integrated and at the center of everything you do, not just something that you publish and be damned, publish and then leave, or publish and then don't pay any attention to. The website is like the bricks and mortar business as it was. The website is the business to all intents and purposes today. So we're going to talk about how all the various bits and bobs you'll have heard of: social media marketing, email campaigns, content blogging, search engine optimization, and so on and so on. How it all comes together, how it all coalesces around this idea of the marketing machine. Okay, so I'm going to share my screen, and I'm going to talk you through this great diagram from HubSpot, actually. And this gives if you like, the three areas of the modern marketing machine, right? This is what the marketing machine is about. The marketing machine needs to engage. As you can see, we want to just engage our clients at the top. Excuse me. We want to engage our customers. We want to delight our customers. But first off, we have to attract those customers in the first place. And that's often the most difficult part for lots of businesses. When people think of marketing, they do tend to think of attracting people into the business in the first place. But you have to see the whole thing as part of the same process. So how you attract is linked to how you engage, which is linked to how you delight your customers. This is the so-called inbound strategy. This is what you're trying to achieve with your marketing machine. It results, or at least it should result, in a process that looks a little bit like this, where you see strangers being attracted and becoming prospects, where they're engaged through the whole process to becoming customers, where you start to delight, and then where your customers become promoters. So the process is very simple: from stranger to prospect to customer to advocate, if you like, or promoter for your business. It's a fantastic methodology, and I think we see the sense of it really quite easily. The question is, how do we achieve it, right? How do we pull all these different bits and pieces that are available to us together in order to focus, in order to create that marketing machine? And the other issue, of course, is the issue of friction. So you hear me talking about frictionless sales, but frictionless marketing is exactly the same principle. And the idea is there are forces acting on your marketing machine. There are things slowing down your attraction process, the engagement process, and certainly your customer delight, customer satisfaction process. Things go wrong. Things go wrong all the time. Your campaigns don't work. There's some friction, or your attract campaign, the marketing campaign is disconnected from the sales campaign, meaning you have to move information from one place to another. That's more friction. It slows things down, makes things less effective. Or even worse, once sales data becomes customer data, that's kept in different places as well. It's even more friction. So one of the things we need to do is reduce the friction in that marketing machine. And that's one of the areas that we specialize in. It's one of the things we do to help our customers, our clients. And when it comes to force, there are a couple of ways you can force the flywheel to spin faster as well. The most obvious way is to apply force to attract, and that is to do more advertising or more attract sort of strategies that make the flywheel spin faster. And then the more we reduce friction, the faster it runs and the longer it'll run for. But you can also think about adding force at the delight stage. The happier your customers are and the more likely they are to promote, the more powerful that flywheel is going to become. So rather than perhaps just looking at it from an attract place, and that is putting people into the top of the funnel, as we used to say, think about, forcing people into the funnel for sure, but think about keeping the flywheel running through customer satisfaction, through customer service, through customer promotion. Your customer, word of mouth, is the best marketing you will ever get. And there's lots that we can do to drive that, to make that even more powerful than perhaps it already is. So I'll come back to that in a minute, but let's just have a look at the ideas that we've just been discussing in a little bit more detail, okay? So we've got our website, we've got all our social media, we've got our email platforms, we've got our salespeople, we've got our customer service people, we've got all these aspects, all these elements surrounding our business. How do we bring them together to create a marketing machine? That very much is the question. So I'll just pop up a couple of overlays here for us to have a chat. The first is, let's have a look at what the process of attraction actually is doing, okay? When we talk about attracting a business, we're talking about drawing in the right people. And we want to draw in the right people because we don't want to just churn a ton of potential customers through our marketing machine. We want people to be as well qualified as they possibly can be. And we want to have conversations with them that establish us as an advisor. We're the sort of person that they can trust to give advice and to provide solutions. That's why they engage with us. And one of the ways you do that is by not selling to them, is by actually using your content to provide information, much like I'm doing at the minute. We're not selling to anybody. We're just trying to explain how marketing machines actually work, okay? And take that and move that through to your website, move it through to your social media, move it through to the salespeople, the customer service people. Teach, don't sell. We'll talk a little bit about that in a minute. So we're going to attract the right people in the first place, and we'll talk about some strategies in a minute. And then we're going to educate them. We're going to help them solve their problem, right? Helping, not selling. How do we engage them once they're there? So we are going to present these solutions that align with their pain points and their goals. We used to call it pressure point selling. What is it that the customer needs you to do for them? What's the job that they're looking to be done? What do they need fixing? Where can you help? What is their pain point and how do you provide a solution for that? Having conversations, for sure, conversations with your customers on your website through blog posts, through ebooks, through contact forms, and even live chat. All these are great ways to engage with the customer and provide them with that solution. This is the stuff that keeps moving them through the pipeline until they become an actual customer. And once they've become a customer, we're looking at delight. We're back into that area where these guys are promoters. They can be much, much more powerful for us than any other form of advertising or any other form of marketing. So it's really important we look after them. It's really important that we empower them to find success. This is why you sometimes hear the term customer success agents, people in businesses that their sole job is to make sure that the solution works for the customer. So the customer is happy. So the customer will tell other customers and potential customers how happy they are, and they'll add force to that flywheel, okay? So that's broadly how the three areas work. We want to attract people into the website in the first place. We want to engage people with the website and with our content, and we want to delight them once they've become customers. That's the inbound methodology, and that's what I'm talking about when I'm talking about a marketing machine, using all of these disparate bits together to create a coherent, cohesive force, if you like, to drive your business forward. So let's just talk a little bit about some of these tactics. What are the ways that we can attract people in, for instance? So the obvious ways we often talk about is content creation. Everybody should consider themselves a digital publisher today. If you're in business and you provide a solution to your customer, you should publish content that educates the customer as to what that solution is. This is now a very, very well established principle. There's no debate about this anymore whatsoever. This is what you must do, because people are searching the web, talking to their friends, looking at review sites to find solutions to their problems. The more you are able to educate the customer, the more likely it will be that they will engage with you and eventually buy from you and eventually become a promoter, okay? So think blogs for sure, think social media, but also think things like podcasts, videos, that sort of stuff, different stuff that perhaps you haven't done before. That's a really, really interesting way to mix it up, not just a boring old article published once a month anymore, but think about how video would absolutely revolutionize your social media, for instance. Or if you don't want to appear on a video, do a podcast, a brilliant way of talking to your customers. Interview your customers. Find out what it was your customer wanted from you, how you successfully supply that to them, and then help get them to tell potential customers how you work. Some great ideas. You also want something a little bit more technical. We call this SEO, or search engine optimization. The idea is that most people search for stuff online and go straight to a website. Nobody actually does that anymore. They may search on Facebook, they may search maybe on Instagram, but they're more than likely searching Google. So Google tends to dominate that marketplace. And what Google tells us is there are things that you can do to make it easier for it to find you, right? So if you offer a solution, if you offer a problem solving for your customer, let's say they go to Google to find out what the answer to that solution might be, the answer to their problem might be. Google wants you to help it discover you so that it can present you to your potential customer, and then you can provide them with the service, which is really good of them if you think about it. I'm not entirely sure they're all that altruistic, but that's what they set out to do. So they give a load of information out to people like me who build marketing machines, websites, and do social media to help us make sure that your content, your website is set up so that Google can actually find it, okay? And we use things like content pillars to create authority. That means stacking content around a certain idea. So if you sell, I don't know, financial services, for instance, a whole ton of financial service type information around health insurance or around serious injury, critical illness cover, as they call it. You could have a central point, a central piece of information about critical illness, and then write 10, 15, 20 over time, tons and tons of content that all feeds into that pillar. That's a great way for Google to understand that you really do know what you're talking about and that your advice is very well valued, and that makes it more likely that it's going to send people your way. But it's also the site itself. You don't need to just optimize your content. You need to make sure that your site works. It works well, it's safe, it's quick, and the customer has a great experience. So they call it UX, don't they? User experience. The customers are happy. They can find things easily. They can navigate your site quickly. They can get in and they can find the information and they can get off. So all that sort of technical stuff has to be covered as well in the attract phase to make sure that we are going to get people that come to our website. And now the final piece of the attract strategies that I want to talk about is paid media. The internet is very much pay to play at the moment. That means if you want to be part of it, if you want to get people to your website, you're probably going to have to think about paying at some point or other. And the reason for that is because there's so much competition for everything. It's a shortcut. It's the fast way to get traffic to your site. It's a fast way to get people to your social media. And you're looking at things like advertising, display ads, or classified type ads, as we like to call it, pay-per-click ads, sponsored content, and even using influencers. Increasingly today, influencers are a fantastic way to reach your market. If you have a story to tell and an influencer, somebody who has authority within the target market that you're trying to attract, tells that story for you, then it can become extremely powerful. So influencer marketing is very well worth looking into. And don't think about the Kardashians or people like that. We're talking about micro-influencers, people with small followings of 100 or more, 1,000 or more, or even a few thousand followers can be hugely, hugely effective when it comes to getting your message over to the people that you want it to appear to. So let's have a look at some engagement strategies quickly. I'm going to move this down so it's not actually over my face this time. Excuse me. Here you go. Right, hopefully it's a little bit better, so you can see my lips move as I'm talking. So from a strategic perspective, engagement is about really putting the customer first, and it's about creating a website that the customer can use, not one that you find useful. It's one that the customer likes, not one that you like. You know, your design predilections and colors that you like may be completely different to what your customer likes. It may not be. You may be lucky to have exactly the same perspectives as your customer. It's unlikely, but it does happen. So always think when you're putting your site together, when you're putting your social media together, when the language you're using comes into question, whether you're informal or formal, whether you're photographic or you use text more or you want to use video, think about the customer. Does that actually suit the customer? Always put the customer first. When it comes to engaging the customer, it's worth thinking about what it is they're going to want to see from your content and from your website. And think communication. What we're trying to do here is actually start up a conversation with our customer. Ultimately, create a community if we can. That's where you really see the power of promoters in your organization. If you can manage to get brand fans or raving fans who actually communicate with each other and talk about your brand. Brands like Harley Davidson have raving fans. They create communities all over Facebook, wherever they go. They talk about the brand privately. Clearly, they're major, major advocates, and one of the reasons why loads of people buy the motorcycle in the first place. So think about your strategies from a communication perspective. Think about live chat, as we've talked about. Think about the website forms. Are they easy to navigate? Are they easy to understand? Can you strike up communication? Can you speak to people? If somebody emails you or reaches out on live chat, it's no good anymore leaving it 24 hours before you respond. They've moved on, they've gone, they've found the solution to their problem somewhere else. Communication is two-way and it's instant, and you really, really need your marketing machine to be up to speed on that sort of stuff. And always keep to the mantra, help, don't sell. You know, we're not trying to sell to people anymore. People don't like people who sell. People don't like being sold to. What they need is a solution. What they need is a way to fix the problem they have. So the company that is most likely to help them fix that problem is the company that's most likely to get their business. Pretty simple, really, when you think about it. And let's have a look at the delight strategies. This is one of my favorite pieces here. I'm going to move that down again so you can still see me. I think if you think delight, it's a really challenging way to approach your business. It's almost like bottom up or an upside down way of approaching your marketing. But if you think about it, the customers you actually have are way more important to your business than the ones you don't yet have, especially when you realize just how many customers your current customers are influencing, especially today with the internet and especially today with review sites. If you have those raving brand fans like Harley Davidson we mentioned, and there are loads of others, the job's done for you. You actually don't see very much advertising from these brands because all the work goes into keeping the customers happy. All the work goes into fantastic showrooms, brilliant experiences, great service, so that people are so delighted with the solution that they've paid for. They talk about it. They tell everybody else about it. So this is vitally, vitally important that we help people. We're not selling to them. Some of the tools you can use to do that. Oh, by the way, at Chatbots, we mentioned live chat on the site, but not just the live chat that says, hi, can I help you? But live chat that helps people, chatbots as we call it, helps people do things, maybe basic things like book a meeting with you or download a white paper. I saw a fantastic example of a chatbot yesterday on a marketing agency's website, and instead of filling out a form, I engaged with the chatbot. So the chatbot asked me a question, and I answered the question and wanted to know my first name. I put my name in, and I had a conversation with the website rather than just filling out a form. Absolutely fantastic, and something that's pretty easy to do these days with the technology that's available. Customer surveys, never has it been easier to understand what your customers want. Customer satisfaction, customer effort, which is related to that help stuff. You know, how much effort does the customer have to go to get the solution? And something called a net promoter score. So that's how likely is that customer to actually promote your firm for you. You know, how likely are they to recommend you to another user, to their family or their friends? These are really, really important measures that can tell you whether or not you're doing the right things. nothing to do with the marketing, which is really hard. You know, steering the ship with marketing is difficult to do. Steering the ship through understanding what your customers are already saying is quite another. We've just seen very, very recently 6 very big businesses, football clubs, who got this badly wrong. They weren't communicating with their customers, and when their plans were announced, their customers really, really hit back. And that included the government, footballers, football coaches. Everybody basically said, this is a terrible idea. And luckily, it seems that they've rolled that back now, and they've gone against what they're gone back on the strategy for the Super League. But what damage has that done to those brands? What damage has that done to that support base? How does that customer base now feel? They were clearly delighted, mostly by fans of Arsenal and Liverpool and Manchester City, clearly delighted by their clubs. Maybe some Saturdays more delighted than others. But now, how much more difficult is it going to be for those organisations to continue to level that delight? How much have they eroded the basis of those fans' fanaticism, those fans' raving appreciation of what they do? And then this last idea is around social media listening. Now, we all use social media to promote our business, and some of us even use social media adverts. But there's a lot of people talking about your business that aren't talking to you about your business. And this is why it's really important to listen out for what people are saying on the web, on social media, about what you're trying to achieve. Social media listening, that is listening to other people's conversations. It's not like creepy sort of snooping on them. It's searching Twitter, searching Facebook for mentions of your brand or mentions of the problem that your brand solves, and just seeing what people are saying about it, just trying to understand what it is people are talking about, what's important to them, where you need to get it right, and where it doesn't matter so much. Maybe you can afford to get it wrong because you're actually getting the word from the horse's mouth directly, if that makes sense. So that's a really brief overview of the way your marketing machine needs to work. Okay, the idea is to bring all of those disparate ideas, many of which you probably will already have heard of, together into an integrated effort, one that works for you and adds value upon value upon value upon value. That's almost exactly the point of your marketing machine. If we go back over to the share screen for a minute, I've actually made a note here of some of the tools that you can use within the attract, delight, and engage stage. You have to excuse me because I've got a screen there and I've got a screen there, and obviously I'm looking at the camera there, so I'm jumping around a little bit so I can read what I've previously put. Under the attract tools, we have advertising, we mentioned video, blogging, social media, and generally speaking, your content strategy. Okay, so somebody like us, an inbound agency, we build marketing machines. We can advise you on every single part of that and provide you through HubSpot, our platform, with a solution to bring it all together, to integrate everything together so it's all in the one place and it's easy to see whether or not it's working. From an engagement perspective, we use things like lead flows, email marketing, lead management, the conversational bots that we talked about, and marketing automation to ensure great experience for your customers. Now, lots of people think marketing automation, oh my God, that's awful, it's a terrible, terrible thing. And it's not about talking to people like they're a robot. It's not about being impersonal. It's actually a behind the scenes thing that makes sure customers get the things that they wanted when they needed it. So if somebody's going to talk to you on your website at 2 o'clock in the morning, your marketing automation ensures they get the feedback they want, they get that ebook that they wanted to download, or they get the answer to that question, and you don't have to be there. Clearly, it multiplies your effort massively. And then delight tools. From the website perspective, we're looking at smart content, and that's content that changes to match the customer. Once the customer is recognized, then the content on the website actually changes, customizes itself for that customer. As soon as they're logged in, they can present it with their preferred color scheme, maybe, or their preferred picture gallery that they want to buy from, or whatever it is. Obviously, email marketing, feeding back to people, responding to their inquiries, informing them as to the progress of their order. All these things are now vital. They're a must-have today. It's not something that's nice to have. These things are a must-have. The conversations inbox, particularly which is in HubSpot, is a way of pulling all of the different messages you have in. So your LinkedIn messages, your Facebook Messenger, your info at and sales at messages all into the one place. So your customer service people, or your salespeople indeed, can see the inquiries coming in all to the one place. And then those people can manage and route those inquiries to the quickest way to the solution. Very, very powerful stuff. And specifically within HubSpot, attribution reporting becomes extremely easy because we've connected all these different bits together. Because we've created a marketing machine, the one measure measures everything. So the one set of tools measures how good your social media is, how good your paid advertising is, how well your content is working, how well your lead flows are performing, how well your engagement metrics are performing, how happy your customers are. We've even, in HubSpot, we've even got NPS software, we've got customer satisfaction, and we've got customer effort software that can automatically send your customer surveys a couple of times through the year, everything reporting back into the one integrated platform. And again, we've got the marketing automation. So HubSpot is actually very famous for marketing automation, but you probably already knew that. But it doesn't have to be HubSpot. There are loads of ways to do this. But what you do have to do is bring it together, right? Create a marketing machine. And this is what we will help you to do. If you want to find out more about it, let me know. I'm more than happy to talk to anybody about these principles and about the concepts and about how to bring your disparate estate, if you've got one, or if you've already got a HubSpot account and you want to get more out of it, help you get that working more powerfully together. If you're watching this back, just leave a comment and I can get in touch with you through that. Or if you want to email us, you can hit my email, which is tony@realinbound.co.uk. Or if not, jump on the website, www.realinbound.co.uk. I'd be more than happy to talk to you and guide you initially, help, don't sell, guide you initially through the process of turning what it is you've got right now into a marketing machine. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope it was useful. Share it, please. Like it. Let me know in the comments whether you found it good or not. And let's speak soon on our next live. Thanks very much, everybody. See you again. Bye.